The LaSalle, Quebec woman who abandoned her 3-year-old daughter on the side of a highway back in June has been declared not criminally responsible in a Quebec court earlier today. There is a publication ban in effect in order to protect the little girl.
Quebec Judge Bertrand Saint-Arnaud said that it was clear that the mother was suffering from mental health issues at the time of the events that prevented her from determining what's right from what's wrong. He said that the psychiatric report presented in court was complete and exhaustive. It determined that she suffered from schizoaffective disorder, which can lead to states of depression, mania, and psychosis. The evidence presented in court included her interrogation with police.
I was terrified.
So you stopped the car.
I thought that my boss had turned my daughter into the devil.
The mom faced 2 charges, child abandonment and criminal negligence causing bodily harm. Saint-Arnaud said the facts that led to these charges were proved beyond reasonable doubt. The Crown presented an account of the facts, how the mother took her child in her car on June 15, leaving her cell phone behind because she believed that she was being followed. A few hours later, she abandoned her 3-year-old daughter, left her alone in a field in Ontario. How she was confused. When speaking to police officers, she offered disjointed remarks. A frantic search then ensued. 3 days later, a technical drone from the Ontario Provincial Police found the child alive in a ditch. She was dehydrated and soiled. The Crown later said the child now suffers from nightmares and fears being left alone.
The position of the Crown is that we follow the suggestion of the psychiatrist. The suggestion is to be detained at Pinel with some possibility to go out, but really restrictively. I will not pronounce myself for the argument of the defense, but I'm pretty sure the judge will render the better decision for the security of the public.
In order to make that decision, Judge Saint-Arnaud heard from the parents of the mother who offered to house her if she was released. He also heard from the psychologist who produced the psychiatric report, who recommended that the mother stay detained at the Pinel Institute because while her mental state has improved after receiving medication, it is still fragile and stress could trigger another psychotic episode.
What exactly is not criminally responsible in the court of Canadian law, and what does it mean specifically?
What does it mean when someone is found not criminally responsible? What kind of treatment do they get, and what are their chances of getting better? When someone is found not criminally responsible, it acknowledges that the person committed the crime, but because of their mental illness, did not have the capacity to understand what they were doing. Not criminally responsible began to be used in 1992 when the criminal code was amended to replace not guilty by reason of insanity. The term insanity was considered to be stigmatizing, and it didn't really reflect the variety or the nuances of mental illnesses. But this hasn't stopped controversy surrounding an NCR verdict.
Some people think that when patients or people are found not criminally responsible, it's like they have been acquitted, which is not true. It has been very clear to the justice system in Canada that when you have a mental disorder, that is serious. You should not be punished. You should be treated.
People found not criminally responsible are often suffering from schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, bipolar disorder, or experiencing a psychosis. People found not criminally responsible for crimes are never simply set free, but unlike a prison sentence, the length of time someone is detained after a verdict isn't known. A lot depends on their willingness to accept treatment. That may include taking medication, psychotherapy, and additional treatment if drugs or alcohol were involved.
If they don't cooperate, they will have more strict conditions.
Goodwill is important, but another big factor is the severity of the person's mental illness. Some people may improve in a couple of months, but for others, they may remain in Pinel for decades.
It takes time. We have to assess the level of security needed, considering the mental state of the person, the risk of relapsing into violent acts,
Their case is reviewed every 12 months, and if they show improvement, they could be transferred to a less restrictive psychiatric institution. They may also be granted a conditional release. There are safeguards in place, but they aren't perfect. One of the main purposes of the treatment is to help the person understand what happened and to identify the stressors and the risk factors that may have led to that behavior. Prue says there are success stories.
They have a better prognosis when there is some family support, when the medication is taken regularly, and the person has gone through all the treatment options we offered.
But there have been some failures, like Sergeant Maureen Brault, who was stabbed to death by a man who was being followed by the province's mental health board. The Ministry of Health says that they're working together with a number of other provincial ministries, including Justice, Public Security, as well as the Crown's Office, to help improve the mental health treatment and follow-up that's in place once someone is released.
Please show your support by following and like this video, share the video with those you think might be interested in the outcome of this case. As well, if you're interested in other true crime cases, please follow along. Consider taking a subscription. I thank you so much to those of my followers as well as those who are already subscribing for your support and the work that I do.